Hello, I'm here at Crumbs Doilies in Soho, and if there's one thing I love, it's food disguised as other food, such as burgers that are made out of cake or sushi that's made out of candy. And I'm going to show you a recipe today that not only is a really great, lovely shortbread recipe, I'm then going to show you how to make that shortbread into donuts. So let's go. For my shortbread recipe, I really like to use a food processor because it's really quick and it's really easy. But if you don't have one of these, you can still do this recipe. You just need to put all your ingredients into a big bowl and use a rubbing technique. And that's where you pick up all your ingredients with your fingertips and rub them like this. But I'm going to cheat today and use this. So into my food processor, I am going to put 300 grams of plain flour, which I've sifted. And also I'm going to put in 100 grams of caster sugar and a pinch of salt. And next I have 250 grams of cold butter, which I've chopped up into cubes. And lastly, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And with the lid on, I'm going to process that for no more than a minute. And what I'm looking for is for my mixture to go past the breadcrumb stage and just begin to clump together. Right, my food processor's been going for a little under a minute now and my breadcrumbs look like they're clumping together, so I'm just going to take a little look. That's looking perfect. So next I'm going to bring all my dough together to form a ball, and I like to do this in a big bowl so that all my crumbs don't fly all over the table. And now with nice clean hands, I'm going to get into this bowl and I'm going to squeeze all these crumbs together. So after a few seconds of squeezing, you'll see it coming together into a ball of dough. And at this point, I'm going to take it out, put it onto my worktop and knead it really briefly. So when you're making shortbread, it's important not to overwork your dough because the point of shortbread is that it's short, and the more you work it, the less short it will be because you'll be creating more gluten. So just knead it really briefly, and then once it's ready, you need to dust your worktop with some plain flour. And then I'm going to put my dough on that, and using a rolling pin, which I'm also going to dust, I'm going to roll that out till it's just over a centimetre thick. And then I have two cookie cutters here. One is a circular one about 3 inches across, and one is about 1 inch, and that's obviously going to form my donut shape. So using the big one first, chomp as many circles as you can out of your round of dough. And then you need to get your little cutter and put it right in the middle of each of these ones and chomp a little hole out. Now you can re-roll all your scraps. You can do it 1 or 2 times. You don't want to do it any more than that because that will mean you're overworking your dough. But I'm just going to bring these together, really briefly squeeze them and re-roll. And then using a palette knife, I'm just going to transfer all of my little cookies onto a baking sheet, which is lined with baking parchment. And if you've ever made shortbread or sugar cookies before, you'll know that if you refrigerate your cutouts before you put them in the oven, it will prevent them from spreading. But actually, I kind of want mine to spread a little bit because it means that the donut edges are going to be nice around. So I'm going to put mine in the oven at 150 degrees C for 25 to 30 minutes. While my shortbread's cooking in the oven, I'm going to get on with making my icing, and I'm going to use royal icing to decorate my donuts. You can buy royal icing pre-mix in supermarkets. You just add water and mix it, and that's pretty good, but I'm going to use powdered egg whites, and if you can get your hands on that, it is much better because it sets firmer. So to start with, I'm going to put 200 grams of sifted icing sugar into my mixing bowl. And then I have 10 grams of the powdered egg white. And then I need to add some water. I'm going to start by putting 4 or 5 tablespoons in, and then I'm going to add more to get the right consistency. And you need to mix royal icing for quite a long time, about 4 or 5 minutes. So I'm going to start on a slow speed just to get the mixture together and then increase it and let it do its thing. Now the consistency you're looking for when you make royal icing for this is oozy rather than runny. It doesn't want to be too runny that it's spilling all over the place, but it shouldn't be too stiff. So if it is too stiff, put a bit more water in it, and if it's too runny, put a bit more sugar in it. But mine looks just right. So now I'm going to add some colour. I'm going to use pink colour paste, but obviously you can use whatever colour you like for your donuts. I'm just going to pop a little tiny bit in and give it another mix. Okay, that is all mixed in, lovely and pink. So I'm just going to scrape that off. And I'm going to be putting all of this into a piping bag, just a small disposable piping bag, and saving it for when I'm ready to decorate. Okay, my shortbread's out of the oven and you'll see that they've spread, but they've also spread into the middle where my hole is. So not to worry, I'm going to use my small cookie cutter again just to chop out those middle bits and make them all neat and tidy. Right, now I just need to wait for these to cool down before I get donutting. Right, now that my shortbread's completely cool, it's time to start making them more donutty by sandwiching them together. And you can use anything you want. You could use buttercream or marshmallow fluff, whatever works. But I'm going to use Nutella because I'm feeling nutty today. And I have a piping bag here filled with the stuff. So on half of my cookies, I'm going to turn them over and I'm going to pipe a nice neat circle around the inside. Right, that's half my donuts filled, and so now I just need to sandwich them together. Oh, I've got an odd number, how convenient. All right, I'll save that for later, but for now I'm going to decorate the tops. So using my royal icing, I've just snipped a hole in the top of my piping bag, and I'm going to just do little wiggles all over the top. And then using a palette knife, I'm just going to smooth that out and just kind of encourage it to tip over the edge. And because royal icing dries really quickly, I'm going to decorate these one at a time, and the last thing to do is to put sprinkles on them. And there it is, my Nutella shortbread disguised as a donut. Super cute. And don't forget that you can just use this recipe if you just want to make some shortbread. You don't have to make it into a donut, but now that you know how to, why wouldn't you? Well, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this recipe, and if you did enjoy this recipe and you want to see more from me, then you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on the link up there. I'll be back next week with another recipe for you guys, so until then, get donutting.